Hello dear students, you are welcome in this video. Dear students, today we are going to start a new series on our channel, and this series is based on Indian knowledge system. We'll explore what is Indian knowledge system and what is there in the very Indian knowledge system, what are the core areas and how Indian knowledge system is prescribed in different types of universities. But this series is based on the syllabus prescribed by Swami Ramanand Tirth Marathwada University Nanded. But let me clear one thing. Though the syllabus is prescribed here in this university, the students who are not studying in this university also have access to all this material and this type of videos. So you will have a comprehensive understanding of the areas or core areas of the Indian knowledge system. So here you can see this is a book prescribed by Swami Ramanand Tirth Marathwada University, an introduction to Indian knowledge system, a textbook for UG students as per NEP 2020 syllabus. And these videos are primary videos, or these videos will talk about the level that is mentioned here, UG level, or the students who are just studying in UG. So it's the videos for beginners. So you have this book is composed by Dr. Rohidas Nitonde, who is chairman of Board of Studies in English in the same university. And today we will talk about Introduction to Indian Knowledge System, or IKS. First we will understand what is IKS, a comprehensive meaning of this IKS, and what are the key areas or core areas of Indian knowledge system. So very first let's understand what is there in the mm, IKS. Here you can see, if you look at the very definition which I tried to mention here, is based on IKS is nothing but, or Indian knowledge system is nothing but, a vast and diverse body of traditional and indigenous knowledge developed in the Indian subcontinent over the millennia. Now, if you look at Indian knowledge system, you will understand it is traditional and ancient knowledge systems, or ancient knowledge. So what do you mean by ancient knowledge? Here we have this type of knowledge is developed in many centuries, in millennia. Here you can see. So this is a very ancient knowledge system which is developed in Indian subcontinent. Now what is Indian subcontinent? Here you have a map of Indian subcontinent. So all this area is included in the Indian subcontinent. Now if you look at this map, this is a political map. So Afghanistan, Pakistan, Nepal, Bhutan, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka with India is the part of Indian subcontinent, and the knowledge systems which were developed here in this subcontinent are called as Indian knowledge system. So here we are taking the whole subcontinent and not the India. So these are the political boundaries. But if we look at Indian knowledge system or these ancient systems, we need to understand this subcontinent, and this is the map of Indian subcontinent. Now, this knowledge is traditional and indigenous, means this knowledge is generated or developed in the local communities, in the traditions, in their different types of traditions. So here we have indigenous knowledge. So it is very important, indigenous knowledge. Now let's understand what are the core areas, because if we look at this Indian knowledge system, it is a vast and diverse body of indigenous and traditional knowledge system. It's very vast and diverse. So this diversity must include all the core areas. There are different types of core areas included in the Indian knowledge system, but we will focus on a few key areas or a few core areas in the Indian knowledge system. So let's understand what are those core areas here. Very first we have the philosophy and spirituality. Now, as we know that there are different types of areas in Indian knowledge system. The very first is philosophy and spirituality. If we look at the Indian philosophy, we find that it's again a very vast body. If you go in the deep of this Indian philosophy, you will understand what type of texts are there, what type of philosophical branches are there, and the core philosophies, different types of core philosophies we have. For example, we have Vedas and Upanishads in Indian knowledge system, or in philosophy and spirituality. We have Bhagavad Gita, a sacred text. Then we have Buddhist texts, or the texts written in Pali language, which also are included in the Indian knowledge system as the philosophical texts. Then we have yoga and meditation. These are all the ancient branches of knowledge, and now we are exploring all these branches. Again, students, let me clear one thing, that we are not going deep here in these systems, but just we are understanding it at the surface level, so that we can have a comprehensive idea of Indian knowledge system. If you go in the deep of these all texts, you will understand how deeper they take you, and how they have evolved over the years or over the centuries. This is the first. So philosophy and spirituality, which is a very key area of Indian knowledge system. Second, we have here science and mathematics. Now we all know that how in ancient India science was developed and mathematics was developed. So we have astronomy. So astronomy talks about the stars and the planets and the cosmos, where we have the prominent scientists like Aryabhat. Then we have Varhamir. In maths, we have the names like Brahmagupta and Bhaskara, and the theory of Bhaskara is well known in the world. How he discovered zero, and how the world is benefited by the theory of zero and the decimal point. So, this is what we have in ancient India. So, these were the very bright stars of ancient knowledge systems in India. The next key area we have here medicine. So, medicine also is a very prominent key area of ancient knowledge system, where we have Ayurveda, and in Ayurveda we find that the balance between body and mind is sought, and based on this balancing we find different types of treatments or to human diseases and human mental disorders. Then we have second system Siddha and Unani. So both these systems are based on the natural herbs and minerals, and they prescribe. So we have Unani doctors, or Unani the practitioners, who completely treat the patient with the natural herbs and minerals, and these were famous ancient medicine systems in India. So this is also one of the branch of the Indian knowledge system. The fourth branch here we have arts and architecture. So in arts and architecture we have classical music and dance. For example, here we have Bharatnatyam, Kathak, Hindustani or Carnatic music. Then we have in architecture, India is a very rich country in architecture and also in arts and music. So you can see the temples, different types of temples, so that you can understand the architectural design of India, and what kind of designs or engineers were used these designs to build the enormous and big temples, or big we can say that mansions, big palaces. We find these architecture very evident. So here we have the temple architectures like Dravidian, Nagara, Vesara, and here we have this is the Khajuraho temple. And if you visit Khajuraho, you will find how rich architecture was there in ancient India. And now we are revisiting all those architectures. We are rediscovering these ancient knowledge and ancient texts and ancient systems which were present there in the ancient India. So this is the fourth area. The fifth area here we have literature. So India is a very rich country in literature, because we have epics like the Ramayana and the Mahabharata, and all. So these epics are well known all over the world. So there are so many stories revolved around the Ramayana and the Mahabharata, and we have a great oral tradition of the Ramayana and the Mahabharata, and still we listen to these stories from these ancient epics or sacred epics we call. Next, we have some classical dramas and poetry, and the names like the Kalidasa's Meghdut, Kalidasa's Shakuntalam, the verse drama. Then we have Kabira. These are the very, we can say that the knowledge foundations which were present there in India, and we are revisiting all these knowledge systems once again. Next, we have agriculture. So this is also a core area of Indian knowledge system, which talks about the sustainable practices. What kind of practices? The water management. For example, we have step wells. You all might have seen the step wells like this. So we have this type of water management system with architecture. You can see how this is the blend of the architecture and the sustainable practices like water management. So here you see this is the step well. Then we have different types of tanks, canals. There were underground pipeline systems in ancient India too. If you visit the Shaniwar Wada in Pune, you will find there is the system of underground water, or for that matter, Mohenjo-daro or Khajuraho. There also you will find the water management systems. So there we have underground pipeline systems of stone pipelines which were evident in those days. So we are going to revisit all these systems once again, and understand how ancient India was rich, not only in culture but in agriculture also. The next key area we have number 7, that is crafts and trades. So India is popularly known for its crafts and trades, and here we find handicrafts and textiles like weaving, pottery, metalwork, jewelry, etc. And also India was famous for trade and commerce, and we have famous trade routes or silk routes which were going from India, and it was a kind of not only a kind of economic exchange but a cultural exchange or cultural interactions to other cultures around the world. So India also was famous and is famous for crafts and trades. Again, the next area we have legal and political systems. For example, we have the text like Arthashastra, and in Arthashastra we find the text talks about state craftiness. Again, it talks about military strategy, which is written by Kautilya. And this is probably the first text on economics or political economy in the world. So it also there again we have some of the texts which were related to Dharma Shastras, in which we found that the philosophy is included of social justice, and we find that the laws of life in Dharma Shastras. So Kautilya, or Chanakya as we know him, is an ancient Indian author or a statesman who composed the book called Arthashastra, which is very important book for to understand the ancient Indian system. Next, or we have the last key area here we have mentioned. Actually, there are so many key areas or core areas in ancient knowledge system, but we have taken only a few or important ones here for our understanding, because we are not going deep in the ancient knowledge system, just we are understanding what is ancient knowledge system. So environmental knowledge, this is also one of the important branch in which we find ethnobotany and ethnozoology, in which we have traditional knowledge of plants and animals used in daily life. As India is known for its multilingualism, multiculturalism, in the same way, India also is known for its flora and fauna and diversity, geographical diversity, geospatial diversity. And here we have environmental knowledge, in which we find that these knowledge, ethnobotany and ethnozoology, is used in daily life. So we find that there are so many practices which are rooted in our culture and which are directly related to nature and its conservation and environmental knowledge. So here we have a sacred kind of practice like sacred grows. Here you see a person is worshipping a tree, and probably this is a very big tree, and before harvesting, so this type of practices are here we find in India, and this shows nothing but the consciousness towards environment and towards the coexistence of the nature with human beings. So these are some of the major branches of Indian knowledge system. I hope you got the idea of all these major branches of Indian knowledge system. If you have any problem, any query, you can comment below in the comment section, and we will understand your question. So I hope let's meet in the next video. Thank you very much.